In this video, we're going to address the question how to steer your interviews. There's no great way, so I'm going to be very careful about while answering this. When you talk about steering an interview, the idea is to take your answers along a way where you get questions that you are comfortable with. And so you talk about stuff that you are happier talking about. So you shift emphasis from stuff that you don't like to stuff that you like when you're answering a question. And so you say stuff like, I finished my graduation. I was in charge of the placement committee. We had historic placement record. It was a very good experience. We got to interact with a lot of companies. I was the front man for a big sector. So that means you're saying, look, I'm placement coordinator. Talk about that. Don't talk about my acads. Right? If you practice well and you're very nuanced, you can do a little bit of this. Right? But it's a skill and it's a limited benefit skill. Don't try to be over smart. With the professors, if they find someone who's ultra savvy, sometimes they get turned off, saying like this. So every time he goes and parks in the same answer, he's not really answering my questions. So don't try to spin away from everything. Right? So don't do that, because that's a big turn off. Two, sometimes it can be very, very jerky. You think you have the finesse to go from one to another, you end up not having that finesse. Suppose you say, tell me about yourself. I'm from NIT Surathkal. I did engineering. I did electrical engineering. But you know what? The really most interesting thing about me is the fact that I run marathons. I've been practicing since I was 14, 15. And the next question they ask you, what is the biggest achievement in your life? You say, look, marathon running is the biggest achievement. You keep coming back to the same thing. You're very jerky. Jump from anything to your safe point. That's a big turn off. Right? So answer question that is being posed to you. If you, with some finesse, you can answer it politely and then open up some couple of avenues which you are comfortable talking. Maybe they'll give you a freebie there and you can talk about that. Then go for it. But don't try to be too smart. Very often when you're trying to steer an interview, a bunch of things go wrong. One, you try to be too smart. You assume that you have Hajar control over the interview. You don't. Professors are very savvy. Give them that credit. Right? Two, there's a background process in your mind which says, I want to go there, I don't want to do this. Fine. That takes away the spontaneity from your answers. You're not answering in the present, which is very important. And the third point is to answer in the present. Answer that question. If question number n is being asked, answer that. Very often, too often, I find students answering n+1, n+2, n+3. I'll ask them, so where are you working? Do you like your job? I like my job. I've been doing really well. I am excellent in my job, but having said that, I want to really change. I see that I can add more value in a role which has a governance possibility and a management possibility. And within that, I think I will have an aptitude for marketing. So I asked you, how is your job? You want to answer how your job is, why you're quitting your job and want to do an MBA, and how in MBA you would like marketing. And so you're continuously answering the question after that and the one after that. I might have asked an honest question. What is your job? You've assumed that job and then why MBA? Why are you quitting if you're so good in your job? And then what do you want to do in MBA? Don't. Answer the question. One, professors are smart. And two, your mind gets mangled. There's one more track running. As it is, interviews are stressful. Don't run multiple tracks in your mind. It's very difficult. Answer the question. Where possible, give some room to open up a couple of points where they might ask you a question. If they ask you, you're lucky. Otherwise, you just go with the flow. And keep that in mind.